All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, again, great to be with you. Make sure I didn't confuse we changed our elevator codes in our main office here in Salt Lake City, and I didn't have them. I've gotten so used to Rick and his role play gang doing their thing that I had to get the elevator code. So that was always a fun little thing. But boy, I'm so excited to be able to be with you and to be able to spend time with you. We've got some extraordinary things that we're going to be sharing with you, not only this morning, but of course this our summit is later today. I hope that you'll be participating. We've got a great group here, and so excited to be with Amber. So here she is, Amber Milton. So Amber, we're going to ask her a bunch of questions, but the one thing I love, even as I was walking into the building today, I was talking to Jay Bentley, one of our great agents, and we were talking about Amber, and we talked about how cool it has been to just watch her journey, and it is a cool thing to see. So Amber, welcome to the Morning Ascent.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just great. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna so tell us just a little bit about yourself, and tell us just a little bit about your start. And you know, the fun thing I've observed and seen with you is that, boy, you have really kind of just stayed your course. And I love the fact of, frankly, how far away you travel to be part of Everest. And that is cool. So, hey, all right. So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us where you live. Tell us your start in real estate, how long you've been in real estate. Give us a little bit.
Okay. So I got my license about 6 years ago. And before that, I was in retail management in the beauty business. So one of my friends said to me one day, he's like, you should go into real estate. You're such a people person. I feel like you would be so great at it. And that just kind of resonated with me. And I, sat on it for a while. And then my husband and I were going on our 20-year anniversary this July. But we struggled to have kids on our own. And, we'd been married for about 13 years, and we finally got the opportunity to adopt my little girl. And that was kind of my why, what made me take the leap of faith. I got my real estate license, and I'm telling you what, if I made it this far, anybody could make it, because we built our first home. I switched careers. I adopted my baby. We moved. I did all of this at once. And it was really tough at first, but I made it through, and I'm so glad that I stuck it out, that I stayed the course, because it wasn't easy, but it has been so worth it. And I am so happy where I'm at today. So that's how I started.
Well, I love it. So I didn't know I did not know that. I did not know that you were on the retail side prior to all of this.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Well, and I know that, talk about just the importance that it's been for you to being with Leah Kruger, who I know that it was early on, you started working with her and on her team and doing some things there. And just talk to us a little bit about the importance of a team. And I mean, Leah, being Leah, my goodness gracious, I've known her for, I don't really want to say how many years, but it's been a long time. Both of us have been doing this a long time, and she's such a great leader, such a great lady. And you guys have seen, right? I mean, you guys, even as a team, have seen the highs and lows of life, and of course, the passing of her husband. I mean, there's been a lot that's gone on, even in just your short career in real estate and being with her and working along her side. So talk a little bit about the importance of a team.
Well, Leah's actually sitting here right next to me.
Hey, there she is. All right.
I don't know if she wants to be on camera or not, but yeah, I mean, she has been such a great example to me, and being on a team has just been so supportive, because it's one thing to get your license and learn about it in real estate school, and then all of a sudden you get out into the real world and it's a whole different story. But Leah believed in me before I believed in myself. It was discouraging at first, and I wanted instant gratification. I wanted to see success overnight. I've always been a super hard worker, but it takes a long time for it to start clicking and for things to start happening. But with Leah and being on the team, we just really bring out the best in each other. We're there for each other, and it's just been great support. So
great. Well, okay. So talk about, just as people are getting to know you just a little bit, and we'll get into some real meat here, but where do you live right now, and how far do you travel to be in the office? And And I know there was a period of time where, I mean, it didn't matter the snowstorm or whatever was going on. I mean, you were at the morning meetings, I mean, like a
I was.
religion. So,
Yeah.
so just talk about where you live. And then, of course, what's near and dear to my heart, of course, is that you adopted a little gal. And
Yeah.
you know, that's an important part of my life, as I found my birth mother just 2 years ago,
Yeah.
this week, by the way,
Awesome.
which is incredible. And I was adopted when I was like 3 days old. So those of you who didn't know that. So how
So
far do you
cool.
travel, and where
Okay.
do you live, and just your
Yeah.
commitment to morning meetings, and the reasons that you've done that?
Okay. Well, when I first took the leap of faith, I was so used to structure. I was working 60 hours a week. My little baby was 6 months old. I remember one morning, Ascent, I got there and it was like a giant snowstorm, and your face, George, you're like, what are you doing here? Because I had
Yes.
made it. But I just have always been really self-disciplined. We moved from Mill Creek area to Timber Lakes. My husband's a home builder, and we built our first house. Since then we've built a couple houses and sold them, and now I live in Camas. We're building another house, which we're not planning to sell, and that'll be in Oakley. But I love
So,
the
so those of you, because we've got a
yeah.
bunch of people from California on the call. So how far of a
Okay.
drive is that for you to get to the office? I mean, I know how long it
Oh,
is. You tell
well,
us.
it used to be an hour. Now it's like 45 minutes. So
All right.
it's not
All
as
right.
bad.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it too. So,
So what would you say is the most important things that you've done so far in your career? I mean, here you are making, well over 300 grand a year. You've had, now recently you've had months where you're making 100 grand, a quarter. I mean, you really have like taken these huge leaps within your business, and really, in frankly, a very short time in regards to what most people would consider a really long career in real estate. So for you, what would you say is some of the most important things that you've done in relationship to building your business and to building your ability to consistently earn income?
well, I would say you'll hear me quote many of your phrases, George, because they just stick with me. I'd say I've stayed the course. Don't give up. Just keep doing what has gotten you to this point. Talk about real estate all the time. I've really stepped up my social media game recently. It's like you're doing the business, so brag about it. Nobody should ever have to guess or ask, "Hey, are you still in real estate?" It should be obvious. So those are some things that I've done to lead me up to this point. And then just continuously build your relationships with everybody. We call it SOI, but really any opportunity I get, I do book clubs, play dates with other moms, the gym, church, just everything. I mean, there's so many ways to meet new people, even with COVID. It's kind of put a little damper on that. I'm not the social butterfly I once was, but you still just take every opportunity to meet new people. And I think this is so important, is just to do and follow through, do what you say you're going to do. Like always follow through. People know that they can count on you and that you're reliable and dependable. And I feel like that just, makes it that much better.
That's
So,
great. So you
yeah.
mentioned a really important thing, right? You talked about staying the course, which I watch people who come into this business earning about what you're earning, and all of a sudden they believe that they're somehow magically have figured it all out. And then I even watch them either do radical things in their business where they change the way, to your point, you said, what got me to this point, which is a question I'm always asking, whether you're
Right.
thinking whether we're doing really well in our business right now or whether we're doing very poor in our business. The reality is there's something or some things that got us to that point. So always taking a moment and reflecting, like, what got me to this point? If there's people listening and you had the best year of your life, what got you to that point, right? If you're having some of the worst moments, what got you to that point? But there's an important word that you used, and that was the word you said, I like structure. And
Yeah.
that word structure. So talk about some of the important structures that you've put in to your career over the last, 3, 4, how many, I didn't hear how many years you've been doing it exactly then. How many?
It's been almost 6.
Okay. Holy
Yeah.
cow. Wow. Time's flying.
I know, right?
I was talking to someone yesterday and they said 8 years and I couldn't even believe it. I was like, what? All right.
Yeah.
So 6 years.
Yes.
So if you look back over the last 6 years, what advice would you give to this group in relationship to getting where you are, having the success, the consistency that you're having? What would you say are some of the most important structures that you've put in place and have held to?
Well, I am a morning person. I haven't always been a morning person, but I get up at 4:30 every day. And I plan my day. I follow up, I make a to-do list. My morning hours are very precious because when my kids wake up, it's all about them.
And
And
how
that
many
helps
children do
me.
you have now,
So
Amber?
we have two.
Okay.
So when my little girl Winter was 2 years old, we started fostering her older sister, and we had her for a little over a year before we got to adopt her. There's the picture of
Ah,
my little girls. So
cute.
they are, yeah, they're my world for sure. Thank you, Russ, for putting that up.
That's awesome. I
So yeah,
love
I
it.
got two little girls right now. They're 6 and 8, so they keep me busy. But I think structure is so important because I have to do everything that I can do while I have the time to do it while they're at school. Of course, when I began my career, they weren't in school every day, so it wasn't quite as easy. But now, well, and then with COVID, they were out of school for a lot of
Right,
times.
right.
So that threw a whole other wrench into the mix. But
So
I
talk
think
talk
structure is so
about,
important.
so I mean,
Yes.
obviously you're this little, I mean, I always tell you this, you're this big beam of light and joy and bouncing all
Thank
over the
you.
place with all of that awesome energy. What do you do though to what do you do specifically regarding your mindset? What are you doing
Right.
to protect and to elevate it? Or what is it you found is most important over your journey to making sure mentally you're there on the days that you don't feel like, or the days the deal goes sideways, or the insecurity possibly at moments where you don't know if there's going to be another deal, or things seem
Right.
like they may not be working out. How do you get back? How do you stay on course? How do you get your mind working right so that you're not, going out into, the great abyss of negativity and fear and
Yeah.
all the things that can bring us down?
Yeah. I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I had the opportunity to go to Unleash the Power Within in 2019. I went twice, which was so cool. And that really lifted my spirits up and, helped me to see that I could do things that I didn't even think I was capable of doing.
Love it.
But I'm always listening to something upbeat, something motivating. I'm in the car a lot, which you can imagine. Right now, I'm listening to the Tony Robbins app. I've got lots of books that I'll listen to over and over again. One of my favorites is The Compound Effect. That's a
Great
great one.
one by Darren Hardy. Yes.
Yeah, I love that one. And then, I just finished Jen Sincero, You're a Badass at Making Money. That was a good one. It's funny.
All
I
right.
had laughing out loud when I was driving. But yeah, I'm always listening to something good. And then again, just taking time for myself. In the morning, I'll go to the gym or exercise at home and just really take care of myself too. I think that in this business or in any line of work, it's easy to get consumed um, and lose focus on the other parts of your life that should be just as important. I think balance is something that I'll always, continue to try to master. But I think that's so important because otherwise you get overwhelmed and what used to be fun and driving and motivating all of a sudden becomes work. And I don't feel like selling real estate is work. I think it's so rewarding to get to help other people accomplish their goals and, give new buyers the keys to their new house. It's just so much fun. And I want to keep that way, keep the fun in it.
That's great. I love it. So talk a little bit about prospecting. Like, as you started your career to what it is today, like
Yeah.
how many people were you talking to a day? What were some of your objectives and goals in regards to your prospecting and
Yeah.
and from that standpoint?
So when I first started, I knocked a lot of doors. Oh, so many doors. My goal was to get a sunburn while I was out there, knocking
I
doors.
love it.
Now I don't do that quite as much, but I do still do that when I take new listings around the area. But I
So,
would say most of,
primarily when you
yeah,
first started your career, it wasn't as much about the phone. You actually wanted to get out and see people face to face, and so
yeah.
you door knocked.
Right.
And did you mainly do that? Did you mainly do that door knocking in the Salt Lake area, or did you do it up in
Yeah,
the
I
Summit
did.
and
I would
Park
do,
City and Camas and Oakley area? Or where
I
did you
did a
do that?
little bit of door knocking in Heber.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I did a lot in Salt Lake because that's when I was commuting all of the time. I mean, I really don't commute as near as much as I used to because I've grown my business surrounded where
Sure.
I live, but now my prospecting looks more like networking with friends and getting referrals and things like that. So I still make the calls. One thing I wrote in my notes when I was preparing to interview with you today was, advice for new agents. I feel like when I first started, I wanted that instant success. And, I was like, oh, I'm door knocking, I'm making the calls, and nothing's coming back my way. But again, you just stay the course. And I had one for sale by owner sign that I drove by and I called on, and I never heard back from the lady. She told me she was renting it out, and so all of a sudden, like honestly, a year later, she called me and she's like, she lived in Las Vegas, and she's like, I kept your number. I want you to list my house. And that was one of my first closings this year
Oh,
or
wow.
last year of 2020. So, I mean, what you put into the business, you get out of it, it comes back to you. It might take a while, but it will come back to you. So don't ever feel like your efforts are not worth it, because they absolutely are.
Well, and to that point, Amber, so many times I've had it to where I look back in my career, whether it be recruiting and bringing a great agent into the company, whether it be door knocking, or whether it be prospecting on a phone for a particular real estate deal, a buyer or a seller. My observation has always been this, is that as we go out into this world that we live in and we give, there's many things that come back to us. So I found it in my
Yeah.
career where I go out and I'll knock all these doors and try to make a positive difference in the lives of the people that I meet. And yet I may literally feel like I got nothing from that. But what is
Yeah.
so interesting is that something else comes my way because of the efforts that I've been putting out there. There's almost like this, and I'm not a huge believer just like, hey, just law of attraction. I always deeply
Yeah.
believe in what I consider to be the law of action, which would be, let's get our mind right, let's get our heart right, our emotions right, and let's get our actions right. And if you start doing and putting your mind, your heart, or your emotions and your actions, your physical actions in alignment, it's crazy the positive things that are attracted into our lives. And whether that be within business or whether that be within any angle of our life, it's a really powerful reminder that as we align our mind, our emotions, and our actions, what we attract into our lives is pretty powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say in regards to skill sets? So obviously, here you are, this ball of energy and smiling all the time like you are now, and and bringing this beautiful light into people's lives. But what would you say in regards to how did you manage and move through elevating your skill sets? How did you become a better communicator in the game of real estate? It's one thing, obviously, to be happy and joyful. There's another angle, right? That the
Yeah.
words that you say, the dialogues that you use, maybe scripts that you use. How have you developed the skill set specifically to do the business that you do?
Well, I would say number one is I learned from my mistakes, right? I've come such a long ways to my listing presentation. I remember in new agent peak training, we had to do the listing presentation in front of everybody, and I was so nervous. And every time you go to a listing appointment, you're applying for a new job because you're asking your future clients to hire you. And I feel like it gets better and better. And I feel like you have to always be open to learning. I'll ask my clients for feedback too. What made you decide to list with me? So I can get an angle on things and just perfect it and fine tune it. I've got my sister Ashley. She recently joined our team. And as I was teaching her the things that I had learned, it kind of put into my mind a realization, gosh, I guess I do know more than I give myself credit for, because here I'm teaching her. And I just remember when I was so insecure and so full of self-doubt, it's funny. So again, that goes back to helping others. So,
Right.
I mean, what goes around comes around. The more you help, the more you gain. So I feel like I've learned more skill sets that way by teaching somebody else than I have, any other way, by practicing. So
I love it. All right. So let me ask you this. So in regards to if someone is discouraged, someone's down and out, someone's having a real battle with the business, whether
yeah,
it be, and we're going to get to this. I want to, let's bring it up now. Let's look at the factors. It doesn't matter whether we're California, it doesn't matter whether we're Utah. There's a significant lack of inventory. Affordability is a major issue, right? Inventory is a major issue. How are you dealing with that? How are you dealing with some of those things that are really challenging in the market? Like you can have the most positive attitude, you can have all the skill sets in the world, but how are you dealing with the inventory issues? How are you dealing with the market issues today?
my mantra is always get more listings, right? I mean, the last 3 I've taken in the last month, they've gone for double digits over list price. And it's just crazy. I think there's so much opportunity out there. I think your mind can be your biggest enemy, because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm never going to find a house for these buyers, there's no inventory, then that's exactly what you're going to get. Focus on what you want, and that's what you're going to get. I've worked with buyers sometimes for months at a time, almost a year at a time, and they'll kind of go on the back burner and then they'll resurface. And we always end up finding them a house. There's the right buyer for every house. And I think you just have to have a positive attitude and a positive outlook, because if you're negative, you're going to get a negative result. It's as simple as that.
I
So
love it. I love it. All right. So you said something really important. I've said this for years, and we've got tons of people, of course, that agents that love. I always find it always interesting. We get these rules that happen inside of ourselves, Amber, and that is
yeah,
we become really fixated on the fact that we only work with buyers, or we get real fixated that we only work with listings. And wherever someone is, the reality is that there's money to be made on both sides of the coin, meaning the buying side,
right.
the selling side, right?
Yeah.
So you said something really important, and that is you talked about listings and the importance of going out and taking a listing. I think one of the things to observe in today's market is that, I find it interesting that an agent has a buyer, right, who wants to buy a home in a particular area, particular neighborhood, particular location. And I'm still not finding them either prospecting by phone or
Yeah.
prospecting and going and knocking on the door and finding the home for that buyer. And I'm seeing that the majority are not, but then I continue. And as I would in my career, is I'd go out to a particular neighborhood, a particular location where someone wanted to live, and I would find the home for that person.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you're double siding it. You've got a listing, you've got the buying, and it's crazy how cool it can be when you truly take that type of action. So one of the things to battle within this market is to making sure that you're knocking on the doors or calling those particular homeowners in those particular areas that you want to work and you want to find a home for a buyer in. It's one of the best places to go look for one. And even if you don't list the home or find the home for that particular buyer, it is likely that you will pick up another listing just from the fact of going out and taking action. So we've got to be a lot more versatile in today's marketplace. We've got to be really conscious of the fact that, yes, people are still buying homes. That's actually one of the major cool things that's going on. But at the same time, if you want to control the buyers, you want to control the market, you want to control your future, it is right now, you better get real serious about the fact of spending just at least a little bit of time every day going out and trying to take a listing. The people who are raging with income right now, I was just talking to Tina Hare. She's taken 43 listings year to date. 43 from her sphere, from door knocking, 43 listings. Talking to Debbie Gates just a week or two ago. She's got 14 listings that she was listing the next week. 14. So the thing that I recognize is that I look at these people who are absolutely killing it. They've made it a priority to go take a listing. So you've got to, I know you're saying it. I just hope this group is hearing it. We've got to get very serious about taking more listings, because if you take more listings, you get more buyers. If you want to put your buyers under contract, get them sold, get more listings. It's an important principle more than ever before in a market that appears in 2021 is not going to slow down. So where we're seeing agents having a struggle isn't the fact that the market's not good. It's that the market is too good. Which still means that the answer to the equation, I got to go off on this real quick, Amber, is that when the market is going down It's the same answer if the market is going up, which is prospect. I will sit in board meetings with executives, and I will sit in these meetings when I'm sitting around all these high profile players, and they're all stressed out and wondering, what do we do? And they're going over market stats and market data and where's the market going? But here's what's so interesting for the life of an agent. If the market is great, the answer is still go prospect. If the market is mediocre, still the same answer is go prospect. And if the market is crashing and burning to the ground, the answer is still go prospect. So for some reason, we as agents are not doing the very things that will solve the very problem that we may be having. If we want more listings, go prospect. If we want more buyers and you want to get them under contract, go prospect. We can't underestimate the power of talking to people in good markets, mediocre markets, flat markets, raging white hot markets. The answer is always still going to be go talk to people consistently on a daily basis.
Yep.
I know you're doing that, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'm talking and preaching to the choir right now. All right. But man, I watch people suffer in this business and I sit there and go, the answer is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay. If look, guys who are listening, if you're making 3 or 4 contacts a day, like listen to me, if you're making 3 or 4, 5, 6 contacts a day and expecting that you're going to make a lot of money, that is the mindset as if you were going down to Las Vegas, putting $10 on the roulette wheel and hoping you're going to strike it big with your $10, because you're giving $10 of effort in relationship to talking to 4, 5, 6, 7 people a day. It's just simply not enough. As a general rule, the number of contacts you make in a day will equal the number of deals you will do in a year. Remember that. All right, Amber.
Yes.
So I had to go on my soapbox because it's driving me crazy watching agents suffer right now.
That's why
and I'm just like, the answer is right in front of them. It's killing me.
Yeah.
All right. So from that standpoint, what would be your advice in today's market? Like if someone sat down and said, Amber, I am really struggling. I don't even know if I can make this. I mean, maybe I need to go get, quote, a real job. What would you tell them? What should they be doing? What would be 2 or 3 things that would be important for you to say, boy, you got to kind of rewrite what you're doing here. And let me give you some advice. And the advice would be what?
Well, I would say sink all your time and energy in it. If that's what you want, that's what you need to go and get, and take massive action. Go knock on the doors, make the calls. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, because if you don't get out of your comfort zone every single day, then you won't succeed in this business, because that's what it truly takes. Build up your mindset. There's so many things you can do to build your confidence. And then just talk to people. I think I've already said that. Any way and every way. If you're afraid to get on the phone, like I said, network, go to every baby shower and bridal shower you can, go to events, let everybody know that you're in real estate. Let me see what else I wrote here in my notes. I feel like, again, I think it's all about attitude too. If you have a bad attitude, you're going to get bad results. I think you just need to stay the course and be patient with yourself, because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and effort, and it's not an easy job, especially at first. I don't know that it ever gets easy, to be honest with you. I learn something every day, and it's rare that you have a transaction that is so smooth like butter that you're like, oh, you went from accepting an offer to close and you didn't hit one roadblock, because there's always roadblocks. But just have confidence and faith in yourself that, if you don't know the answers, go find the answers and try to learn as much as you can, and never give up, because if that's truly what you want, you won't make excuses. You'll just keep getting back up and keep trying at it.
Love it. Well said. Perfectly said. And it's reminding me of 2 things. What do you want? So if you're, to your point, do you really want it?
Yeah.
Now figure out why it's important to you, right? So, hey, I want to sell 50 homes, which I'm always excited when people say, hey, I want to sell blank homes, whatever the number is. Let's just say it's 50. And then the real question is, why? What does it do for you? What's important about it? And when we get down into the depth of with the reasons, then what's so fun, and Amber, you're a shining example of this, and that is that the emotion, right? The heart, the soul, the emotion takes over on the days when you don't feel like it, because you're so committed to yourself, to your future, to your family, to your goals, and all the things you want, because there's an emotional connection. So guys, gals, get connected to what you want. But I would arguably say what's even more important is, why do you want it? And that's what I'm hearing when you're saying that. Don't give up, keep going. What you can hear is your passion, Amber. You can hear your energy of, like, if you want something, chase it, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself a little bit of grace, right? It's such a powerful place to be, that when we're moving from a place of heart, emotion, everything is different. And when we can put that little thread through everything that we're doing, whew, wow, watch out.
Yeah.
All right, any last thoughts?
I wrote down a quote that I wanted to share with you guys. It
Yep,
says,
go ahead, and then we'll wrap up here.
okay, the road to success is always under construction. So you're always learning, you're always growing, and that's how you get better and better. So
Well, that's great, Amber. Well, Amber, just know I'm inspired by you. I know this group is inspired by you. And you know what? You are a true example of moments that are oftentimes not so great, or times when they are so great. And you have created this amazing habit of always, what I have observed in you, on even watching from afar, your positive attitude, the light that you bring into things, and your optimism to life is something that everyone should observe and take in, because it's a great way to approach life. Because as you know, you're always going to have heartache, you're going to have disappointment. The question is, can you stay in what Tony Robbins, of course, will say, a beautiful state, right? I like to say, just simply staying in the light. We know the difference of the light versus the dark. And when we have difficult moments, can we choose to stay in that light? Can we be in that beautiful state? And the answer is we can. And you're a shining example of that, Amber. And so grateful that you're part of the company. So grateful for your influence. And thank you for giving back and being part of everything today. And if I presume if people want to reach out to you, maybe throw your phone number or your email into the chat box. And I know that you're someone who's always willing to help and help someone go to the next level also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, George.
Absolutely. All right, here we go, gang. Let's close up here with some closing affirmations. And